guys, my name is Nicole. I'm one of the registered dietitians here at Living Hope Eating Disorder Treatment Center. Me and a few of the other registered dietitians wanted to put together a few short clips to discuss some of the challenges that a patient may be dealing with during this COVID-19 outbreak. We wanted to kind of just spark some discussion and offer a little bit of additional support during this. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to leave those down below and we can get back to you guys. Okay, so the first topic that I wanted to kind of touch on is the aspect of social media during this time. This can be a very challenging time for many people, and patients with an eating disorder, this can be very triggering, the idea of social media. With more at-home workouts circulating, as well as people promoting more diets and diet culture related content, it can be very triggering for anyone during this time. So I just have a few tips and tricks to help you through this social distancing and time of social isolation where we may be spending a little bit more time on social media. My first tip is going to be to block triggering content or hide accounts that are unhelpful. Most social media platforms nowadays offer an opportunity to hide or block content, and I can find that this is very helpful when you come across some triggering family or friends on social media or just accounts that are unhelpful in general. My tip number 2 is to reach out for support, whether this be from your peers in recovery or friends or family. Scheduling a FaceTime session or a phone call with a loved one can be very helpful, as well as keeping up with your treatment team. A lot of providers are offering telehealth services at this time, and if you feel that you need additional support, I would encourage you guys to reach out to your treatment team and seek some support. My tip number 3 is to journal and redirect. This may seem pretty simple, but can be very challenging. I think that it's helpful to remind yourself of why you started on this journey. Recovery is very challenging, and this is just an added challenge during this time. I like to use the mantra, "This too shall pass," and remind yourself that this is very temporary and we're going to make it through. Recovery is challenging, and reminding yourself just how far you've come can be very helpful. My fourth and final tip is going to be to follow some positive social media accounts. I know it's hard to believe, but there are lots out there. And during this time, there are lots of accounts that are offering additional support. There are great accounts on both Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, and Facebook that offer, body positivity and health at every size. There are even some accounts that are offering live virtual meal supports during this time. We'll be sure to link some of those accounts down below. I'm going to go ahead and hand it off to one of the other dietitians. Thanks, guys.
Hey everyone, my name is Cassie. I am another registered dietitian at Living Hope. Today I am going to touch on hunger and fullness cues. These cues can also be referred to as ghrelin and leptin. So ghrelin and leptin are hormones that are produced by our body. Ghrelin lets us know whenever we're hungry, and leptin lets us know whenever we're full. So as you may know, someone who is struggling with an eating disorder, these hormones, these cues can be kind of disrupted. And that can make it really difficult for them to know whenever they're hungry before a meal or to let them feel satiety after a meal. And another thing that can disrupt these cues is stress. Obviously, there is a lot of stress going on in the world right now, and combine this with someone who already deals with some of these issues, we now have a really big problem. So I'm going to be sharing some tips with you on how to navigate that, and whether you're someone who is dealing with maybe not having any appetite at all, no desire to eat at all, or someone who is having some heightened cravings around food right now. So first and foremost, have grace for yourself during this time. It is so normal and okay for you to be having these feelings around food right now. If you're someone who is having really heightened cravings right now, honor them and give your body what it wants. The more that you try to ignore these cravings, the more intense they may become, and this could possibly lead to a binge. And usually following a binge is another phase of restriction. And so it kind of turns into this vicious cycle, and the way to break that cycle is to, honor your craving and give your body what it wants, because usually that's what it needs. On the other side, if you're someone who deals with loss of appetite and you just have no desire to eat, making meals and snacks a little more enjoyable, a little more relaxing can be really helpful. And that may look different for everyone. It may be going outside, eating on your porch, on your balcony, maybe listening to some music, lighting a candle, calling a friend, FaceTiming someone, whatever works best for you to make that situation a little more relaxing. But no matter what side you fall on, one of the most important things you can do for yourself is having a set eating schedule and sticking to it. Even if you're not feeling hungry at breakfast or at lunch or at dinner, you still need to eat. You don't have to earn your food. You don't have to justify why you're eating. We all need to eat so our body can have that energy and those nutrients that it needs. And so one last thing I wanted to touch on is that people who have eating disorders also have very compromised immune systems. There's really no magic supplement, there's no superfood that can really protect you against this virus. But providing your body, like I said, with enough energy and enough nutrients, from all of the food groups, that's the best thing that you can do for yourself and for your immune system right now. So I hope this video helps anyone who is struggling with any of these issues. If you have any questions about it, please don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you, guys.
Hi, my name is Alyssa. I wanted to talk with you all about the issues we've seen arise specifically relating to routines and using telehealth during the COVID-19 pandemic. First of all, I want to talk about internet connection. It plays a huge role in our ability to be able to meet with our patients one-on-one and in groups, so having a good internet connection is pivotal to having a good session. If someone doesn't have a good internet connection, it can impair their ability to even meet with their providers at all, and that has happened in some cases, which is unfortunate. Some other poor connectivity issues that can arise are, choppiness in the communication, which is frustrating, and you end up having to repeat yourself a lot, or the patients do. It's frustrating for them as well. Also hearing echoes because of reverb, and so those things can be really challenging as well. One way that I've seen an improvement in that happen is if everyone, particularly in a group session, can mute their microphones, except for the person who's speaking at the moment. That can really help cut back on some of the echoing. Something else that's helped is, many internet providers have increased bandwidth or internet capacities for their clients, and that has impacted my ability to use the internet tremendously and has been very helpful. So if you're still having internet connectivity issues, perhaps calling your internet provider and seeing if there's anything available specifically during this pandemic where you could have temporarily your bandwidth increased or something like that could be very helpful.
Hi everyone, my name is Kara. I'm one of the dietitians at Living Hope. Wanted to talk today about one of the big struggles that we're seeing from this COVID-19 pandemic, being grocery shopping. The grocery shopping is something that is already something that is difficult if you're struggling with an eating disorder. And adding on top some of the changes that have been made and been seen in grocery stores has just added to that level of anxiety and stress. We're seeing more and more frenzy behaviors, long lines, crowded places, and empty shelves, which can be very triggering for people with eating disorders. The empty shelves can often remind people of past restricting, past dieting, and it can also lead to current restriction desires because they want to justify, food, there's a scarcity of food, so I need to restrict and save it for when I need it, or even sometimes justifying saying, I don't need this food as bad as someone else does, so I'm not even going to purchase it. Having a scarcity of food can also actually lead to an opposite effect, where we see sometimes people go towards a binge cycle because there is a scarcity and because they're seeking comfort from something. That this is a coping skill. An eating disorder is that they utilize to try to comfort themselves. So another big struggle for people with an eating disorder, specifically now in the grocery stores, is because of the scarcity of food. the empty shelves, we're seeing a lot of the typical safe foods that people might go for and purchase are not available. And the foods that are available are those more fearful foods, the shelf-stable, calorie-dense, frozen types of foods that are challenging for people to eat. So we see that those are the types of foods that are available and are needing to be purchased just so that they can eat something to try and follow their meal plan. So to help with this, the first thing that might be helpful is to avoid the grocery store if you're able to altogether, and utilize grocery store pickup or delivery if that's available. And also trying to follow your meal plan to the best of your ability with the food that is available. And sometimes that is going to be those more challenging foods. So just being gentle with yourself and allowing yourself to process those emotions, and remind yourself that all food is good, no matter the source, whether it's frozen or fresh or dried or canned. We all utilize those nutrients exactly the same way, no matter the source. Our bodies can't distinguish one type of food from another. And also, purchasing foods that may provide some sort of comfort, some comfort type of foods, can also be beneficial at this time. The psychological aspect of eating foods that are comfortable and bring us happiness can also improve the levels of anxiety that we have about grocery shopping. So I hope you guys keep those tips in mind and stay safe. Thank you.
Hi guys, I'm Kristen, and I wanted to add some more to this discussion about what might be some challenges for those with eating disorders during this time. I wanted to touch on a few co-occurring disorders that kind of happen with our patients, and add some hope with some recommendations for combating these or working with your loved one at this time. First of all, we all know that, with COVID, anxiety seems to be a little bit higher than usual. And this is true also with our population of eating disorders. Worries about how long this is going to happen, when things are going to go back to normal. And generally with anxiety increases, we tend to see the urges increase as well. So we see patients with eating disorders tend to think that they need to turn towards their eating disorder behaviors as a form of kind of coping, or, having some kind of control in their lives. And that's true for all types of eating disorders, not just one or two. We see depression kind of intensify at this time for this similar reasons. The mandated isolation causes anyone to feel kind of lonely, or maybe some feelings of hopelessness and things like that. So once again, the eating disorder behaviors would come in and, try to kind of help the patient with, decreasing these feelings of helplessness and things like that. We see fears about body changing, or, changes in routine and eating patterns, and where you used to eat or who you used to eat with. And suddenly, either the person is staying at home by themselves and having to do these things fully on their own, or they're doing a support group virtually, and that has changes too. Sometimes patients will even, end up having to be home with somebody who may even trigger the urges to do eating disorder behaviors. So there's some risk there for these patients as well. We see a lot of patients that have PTSD, and at this time, this feels pretty traumatic to most people, the big changes, the sudden shift, and the lifestyle we were living. And so that may bring up some sense of, thoughts of reminders of feeling the trauma that they've experienced before. So we have to be aware of that too. In talking to my clients, I also kind of see that OCD behaviors can be increased at this time because of the protocols that have to be there. So making sure you're washing your hands and washing your hands long enough, not being within 6 feet of somebody. All these things, they're set to help us stay safe and healthy, and they need to be there. But these might transition to other OCD behaviors that these patients might have as well. So we'd anticipate that too. My patients are saying that, what things that are most helpful to them right now are just being supportive still. If you're the person there in the home with the person recovering from an eating disorder, helping them maintain their meal plan routine, eating with them, these patients are saying is the most helpful thing. Going for a walk outside with them, making sure they check in with their friends, kind of doing things that help them feel like they're themselves, using the coping mechanisms that they work on learning in therapy or have developed on their own. Helping them validate their feelings is really helpful right now too. We see, with the anxiety, with the fears, with the urges increasing, it's really important to help them feel like what they're feeling is real and help them know that it's okay to be experiencing those feelings, and that allows them to actually process through them instead of avoiding them. For you guys who are in recovery, other people are saying feeling gratitude has been really helpful for them right now. Looking at the things they still have, the things they still can do, the people they can still talk to, remembering that this is all temporary has been helpful as well. Keeping up with your treatment team meetings, seeing your dietitian, seeing your therapist, checking in with your physician, going to groups if you're scheduled for those, just as regular. As well as keeping yourself accountable. If you set some goals within your team, meeting those goals will help you reassure that you can continue to progress through this difficult time. And absolutely, we believe in you, and you can always reach out to us. We're happy to share our contact info with you to answer your questions. And if you need any support at this time, please feel free to reach out to us. And I hope you all stay safe and well, and we'll see you soon.
Hey, all you cool cats and kittens. It's Nicole Scheinfeld here, one of the registered dietitians at Living Hope.
Hello everyone, my name is...
Hi everyone, my name is Kara. I'm one of the dietitians at Living Hope. Wanted to talk to you about...
Hey, y'all. I'm Nicole here.